Welcome everyone to the very important, extremely needed Path of Exile early game guide. In this video, I'll show you guys all the methods, the tricks to cap your resistance for almost minimum cost and also ways you can stop dying. So looking over there, if you guys saw clearly, I have 75 fire, I have about 40 resistance, quite low chaos resistance, and within seconds, I was going to show you guys just quickly, there are methods we can be capping our resistance. And I'll go through everything in this video as well, and here I was a little stat cap. Notice I will slowly min and max my resistance to all over 75 very quickly, and this cost me almost nothing. And on top of that, there's a lot I want to share in this video with you guys, including what maps you should be running, what kind of gears you can be having, and also how do you get additional bonus anointed enchantment on your amulet that can help you stop dying. And on top of that, I'll be going through how to get the best items for the cheapest price for you, to teach you about price filtering and also how to check for resistance. This is extremely important for you to get better gears as you get into the end game, and I'm sure this will help you guys a lot. And together with ways of getting more chaos resistance, this particular video is going to focus on helping every class, every build as you enter level 65, 70 or 75 to stop dying in the game. Because as you can see over here, I'm on 75 all resist and I can go even higher with more health and also more stats. So coming over to my character, one of the quickest and also easiest way to get capped all resist is actually to have 2 socket or more socket on gears. And we have talked about this in previous videos. So notice my gears have more socket than most of your guys because I have been corrupting them. Now sometimes they don't always succeed. Notice those pieces, they did not succeed while corrupting, while those other pieces, they have succeeded. And this means I have more resistance. And you can see I have prepared myself a pair of unique boots with 2 sockets. So the first part of this is a little cheat, I guess, method to break through the resistance cap is look at your existing gears, if they can be corrupted and if they're already on the max 6 modifiers. This is because if you corrupt them, you can't increase modifiers, you cannot change quality, so be aware of this. But if we were having early game gears and we don't have much resource to increase quality or add effects, that is okay. If you already have 2 sockets or if you already added socket to your gears, make sure they're on the maximum socketed gears. And then this is when you can corrupt them. So going through some of the example of corrupting gears, notice over here, I'll be corrupting this pair of boots. Now there is a small mistake, but you can notice why I'm doing this. I'm not planning to add Exalt on these boots. These boots only bought for 1 Exalt and I don't plan to use it for long. So I didn't add 1 more modifier, I didn't add quality to it. I just wanted more socket for now so I can survive. And luckily we hit the additional socket. So this demonstrates that this can be one super cheap method into getting more sockets to maximize your resistance. And now I do want to give you guys a warning. This is a helmet. Now remember, evolving corrupting items can change gears unpredictably. And you might be wondering how this works. Sometimes it doesn't change. Sometimes it will give you extra socket. Other time it will change the stats. So look closely at the plus 17 strength and look what happens. It became plus 14 intelligence. And notice that this gear did not give me an extra socket, but it randomly changed some of the modifiers within the gear. So that can still happen. So there is a small risk in corrupting your gears for additional sockets. But I do feel like the reward outweighs the risk, because you can see I got 2 socket here, 2 socket here, and 2 socket over here. This one changed stats, but that's okay. And also for this one, nothing major has changed, and I'm still using this one with the 2 socket. So the first thing you want to learn with getting better stats with your gears is actually learn to how to corrupt your gears. Now again guys, if you have not added all the modifiers, if you haven't added the quality, you should consider the weight if it's worth it to add quality and also more modifiers, or if it's just worth it to get 1 more socket, throw in a ruin to get another 12% resistance you are missing. And this can be a massive boost as you get into the end game with level 65, 70, you're just missing those resistance. And this is definitely the fastest, the cheapest, or I feel like a cheating way to get past the end game to stop dying by capping all of your resistance. This is very important. You don't have to cap chaos resistance yet, but I'll teach you guys how to make this higher. So for now, you want to cap those. Now during this time, I do want to mention, if you want to be a little cheap like me, notice I'm having the plus lightning, plus cold, so I can target increase each of those. But if you want to go all resist, that also works. So If you want to go all resist, this so-called is selling for about 2 exalt or 3 exalt. It used to be selling for 1 exalt, but right now it's so popular. So this only increased the resistance total gain by 3%. So you want to weight it. Is it worth to spend 2 to 3 exalt for additional 3% resistance? Or is it actually worth it to go budget like me, just target increase the resistance you have on the gears? And because I have so many sockets, I can just throw anything anywhere. And you can see that I'm pretty capped out in resistance. Now I do want to have a small correction. I was in the lower X, and I was like, how come I'm over 120 resistance, right? So yes, I just got capped by 75 for all the resistance over here. So previously I was on lower Act. But you do want to go a little higher in resistance because in later maps, they might minus your all resistance by 10 or 20%. So you want to overcap a little bit, maybe just by 10% if you can, if you're using this method. So be aware of this as well. Now, the second thing you want to notice is that we do want some chaos resist. You can skip the chaos resist if you're going over here, which will mean that you turn your life to 1. But most of our build, we don't have this privilege to have this. So one of the cheapest ways to get chaos resistance, which is actually very much more expensive to socket because they don't give much chaos resistance. So what I recommend is aim for all resistance first to 75% and then consider using a chaos resistance charm. This will give you a massive 18% chaos resist, and I also recommend getting some guard for additional protection, but the major focus is getting increased charges so you can have 2 goals of this item. You can also get increased duration, of course, but increased charges means I have 60 to 127. So this means I have 2 charges to use in a map, and this will greatly help you with chaos resistance. And if you can't find this, I'll have the links of all the items I mentioned in this video. So this way, anything you want to search, anything I'm talking about, you can be searching for those with the filters I have created for you guys to make sure this is the easiest way for you to become stronger in the endgame. Now, since we're talking about the ruins, we can also talk about the potions. I like to have increased charges and also increased amount recovered. So here are the choices I have picked for my potions. You can see how your build works and pick those accordingly. Now, as we go through this, I do want to mention that you can have a look at my health and also mana. Those are not the highest. Stacking health is usually never run for most of the gears, and you should look for a lot health. This item only has 36 health. It's not great. This one have 158 health. In the later stage of the game, you want to find items with a lot more health together with resistance, preferably over 140 health. Now you may be asking me, Matt, how am I going to find those items? Well, I'm going to teach you how, and I'll have the filters available for you guys so you can actually use my filters to get some really cheap items. Yes, this is like spoon feeding you guys. I want to prepare everything for you guys because as I learn the game, I want to share. I don't want to hide anything. I want you guys to have the best experience as we learn the game together. So one thing is we're going to start with a chess piece. Usually chess pieces are more important for most classes, and this works for the summoners too. So this one's pretty good, but what you want to do is notice I have the filters ready for you guys for now. But if I put the filters to 140 life and I want at least 40 spirit, so this is understandable. I'm sure most of you know this part of the filter, but I want to teach you guys a secret method. This is a very, very important thing you need to know. This is called count. The counting system means that you can select any resistance or any effects you want. I can even add more stuff like dexterity. And I'm going to tell the game, I'm looking for all of those stats, but I don't need to have the exact right one. You can pick fire or cold on the gear, like the shield or this one over here. Notice it's got fire, cold, and also lightning. And over here, it has fire and also lightning resistance. I'll tell the game, I am looking for all of those resistance. I'm not looking for dexterity, of course. So I'm looking for at least 20 minimum resistance on a piece of gear for any of those 2 out of the 3. This is important. Now, if you want to go any 1 out of the 3, you can do 1. Any 2 out of the 3, any 3 out of the 3, you might as well put it over there, right? So if I go any 2 out of the 3, what I do is I'll search over here, and voila, this comes up perfectly filtered to the stats I wanted. Notice it has fire and lightning, and over here it has fire and cold. And this is how you want to search for gears. So if I were to be a little budgety and I want to be a little cheap, I can lower the stats and all of a sudden the gear prices will drop to 1 exalt. This is how you pick extremely good gears using the right filter. This is not often taught to new players, and most of the case I realize the top content creators and streamers, they have perfect gears. We don't even know how to get there, right? So I want to teach you guys step by step how to find those gears for cheap. Let's say if I wanted higher resistance, I get a little greedy, I need more fire. So I can search this way and it will start to show me stuff that with higher fire resistance. Notice it's always on the cheapest price. You can of course click life and this will show you the highest life. And all of a sudden, oh, that's a lot of life. All of a sudden, this is 120 Exalt. You don't need to click that unless you really needed that stat. But if you want more spirit, you can be like, oh, I come over here, I'll do 40 spirit. And notice the price change went from 1 Exalt to 4 Exalt. You want to weight it yourself. Do I prefer 10 more spirit or do I prefer 3 Exalt cheaper? And of course, at the same time, guys, if you're already capped with lightning resistance, you can take away lightning and you can put 1 here. So the game will search for at least 1 of those resistance. And here I'm going to press again. So notice it shows me just fire. But of course, when I prepare the filter for you guys, everything will be as the way it is. So this way you can change the numbers, follow my instructions to find the cheapest items. I want to mention that if you use a shield, you really want higher block chance, and this will dramatically increase your total block chance. So we're going to use the shield as a second example because the first one was a chest, right? So here I have filtered for shield for you guys. I want at least 50% block chance, at least 120 life, and here what I want to show you guys is you can filter for chaos resistance, but chaos resistance is a little more rare, so you don't want to put too high. So I'm going to go 10, 10, 20. So now the game is going to filter for me and any of the 2 out of those resistance will appear for us. So looking over here after clicking search, you can see that this appears and those are pretty good shield for only 1 Exalt. Of course, once you see they only have 1 Exalt, you can be greedier. You can go to 40 life. And if I search over here, still 1 Exalt. And I can go higher. I'll go like, oh, let's do like 15. And you keep playing with the numbers, you play around to see how it works. So I have the base filter again for you guys. And notice here, if you wanted something like, better resistance, you can even go all 3 resistance. And this means you're looking for 3 out of the 4. Let's try this again. Let's look at the price. Okay, now it's 10 Exalt. See, there's a lot you can play around with, and this will help you to buy the perfect gears for 1 Exalt most of the time. And this is a big game changer. So not only I want to teach you guys how to cheat the gem and also valve system, I actually want to teach you guys how to find better gears for cheaper. Because a lot of players who are not getting those gears are missing out. So this is why I feel understanding those hidden filters and also mechanics on the trading side will actually help you a lot in the game. So those are just 2 examples. If you're playing Sources, if you're playing Titan, you can use similarly to change the filter a little bit to what you need, but you can keep the resistance over here. And I have those filters ready for you guys to have a look. So this way you can pick up best gears for your build for super cheap price. And this will save you tons of time. So over here, I'll have all the links available for everything I mentioned to you guys. That will be important, right? And finally, if you are playing my build and we're going with stacking the mana recovery on kill, it is still profitable to try to find 2% if you can get this one under 3 Exalt. But right now they're so expensive. I'm a little sad that I can't even get it myself because most of the gems I have, as you guys can see over here, it's only 1%. So I can consider rolling those with Divine Orb, but that's another option. I don't want to get 50-50s, right? So after making my video, I can't even buy my own gems. A little awkward. So it's like make the guide and everyone buys it and all the price goes up. So I'm using most of the 1%. For survivability for your Infernal list following my build, you do want to try to get 2%. And yes, we'll get more build specific on the next part. Now next up, one of the ways to get some fast, easy, tanky or any stat in the game is actually to enchant your amulet. This way, once you get to the end game, if you find a decent amulet like this one, you can enchant it. So I'm going to put my amulet on. What you want to see is this actually happens. So this actually gives me a free skill knot over here, which by no means am I going to get all the way over here. So how this works is this amulet is anointed or enchanted, so I get a free skill passive anywhere on the tree as long as it's not a major knot. So those ones you can't do, but any of those big ones you can do. So what you want to do is search what is needed for your build. If you need a health, or if you need a mana, or if for me, I need block. So once I search for block, and because I know it's over here, right? You're going to come over here to this knot, you're going to hold Alt, and this will tell you what is needed to enchant or anoint this item in the right order. So it's Greed, Guild, and also Greed. Now here, I have some spare ones, but they're not exactly the same because I'm missing one Greed. You can buy those on the market for 1 Exalt, but before you buy them, make sure you're checking your stash. I actually had a few of those, then I bought some, which is very silly. So you don't want to buy them if you already have them. You have to insert those in the right order. I'll give you guys an example. So let me find an amulet. My stash is a mess. Yes, it is messy. So let's find an amulet as an example over here. So what you do is you right click on those and this will bring up a table. You put the amulet in and then you put the items in a correct order. So it doesn't matter the order, it does very much matter the order. I can't do this correctly because they're not the right combination, of course. So what you want to do is, so notice that this is not correct. Those are not the ones that you get the passives on. So what you want to follow is, notice here, it has to be greed, guild, greed in the right order if you wanted to get higher block chance and also more defense from the shield. But what if you're looking for, let's say, health? Maybe this will be easier. And probably it's called life, right? Let's have a look at life. Okay, there's a lot of life knots, oh boy. So let's say if you want this particular knot. Now I don't recommend getting random ones. Make sure you know what you can get the best one for your build, because you can only get one anointed per each amulet. So let's say if you wanted this one, it's going to have fear, despair, and also paranoia as the order of the enchantment you replace on the amulet. So you got fear, what was it? So it's fear, despair, and also paranoia. So you put fear, despair, paranoia, and then you can anoint this one to get this free skill point for 3% life. So this is one of the ways you can increase the damage of your build, increase the stats of your build, and all of those items are super cheap. You probably already have those, but if you don't have those, you can buy them for 1 exalt, and sometimes they sell even less than 1 exalt. And this way, you can dramatically become stronger. So one of the reasons I didn't anoint this one, which is really good for me for more block, is actually I can perk into this. So you want to find points for your class that you cannot perk into that is super far away, and then you take advantage of those abilities to extend your reach on the passive tree to get more survivability and also better points. Now at the same time, we mentioned about the shield, and just to be more class specific, I am going with more block chance for my Infernalist to become even survivable. You can get block chance up to 70 something percent. How many is it? So block chance up to 75%. I'm on 57%. Getting more knots over there, I can get quickly to 75%, which will block a lot of incoming damage, which is going to be very, very good for most of the build. Now, finally, guys, if you're looking for items with gears and also stats, don't forget that item that provides strength, maximum life is always good for most of the build, unless you're changing your life to 1, of course. That is a different build. So if you're getting strength, the strength will also give you more life, and each point will give you 2 life. But that is not only all. So one thing you do want to notice, so I guess we probably should finish up. The video is getting too long. So one thing you want to notice, no matter how much and also how great the guide is, if you're playing a map and you purposely pick maps that makes you weaker, let's say if over here I have all the resistance and all the resistance to 75, but I'm picking maps that deals additional damage to me as chaos damage, and I don't have chaos resistance, and then the map will make you disadvantaged, and during this time if you run into stronger enemies, you can still be killed. So the map modifiers in the future will matter with things. So here is penetrate through resistance. And what this means is you might want higher resistance, or you might want better life because you'll go through resistance. And here they deal extra lightning damage and cold damage. So make sure your resistance are up before you attempt harder maps. This is an example for lower tier, of course. You don't really care about lower tier, but in harder tiers, you want to be a little careful with the modifiers, and this will be giving you guys the best result in the game as you go start mapping. Now, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And yes, I will spoon feed you guys all the way to the end game to level 100 as we play the game together. And I'll have all the filters ready for you guys. And similar to before, guys, if you're using the filter exactly, the price of item might go up slightly because I'm sharing the filters, people are buying the same items. But if you're using a different build and if you're looking for different stats, make sure you adjust the filters accordingly. And I'm sure you guys can learn how to adjust as you watch the videos. And finally, if you want to stay tuned for the best update and also more guides for POE 2, make sure you subscribe and send a good comments. And if you do have any tips and guides for all the players that's playing the game, make sure you share with me and also everyone so we can be learning the game together and having a better time in this early access. Now, before we finish, if you guys haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so because I'll be looking into the latest Path of Exile 2 news on different communities and also on the official forum, official webpage. I'll also be looking into the best build for each of the class as the meta develops with the Chinese and also the English community. So stay tuned for the latest update and also guides for Path of Exile 2. And of course, this is gonna be a big month for us. And I'll try to bring you guys all of the latest content and also guides for Path of Exile 2 to come.